It's the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast with Alex Trataros, John Meleka, and Raisi on the beat. Let's go.
What's good, everyone? Alex Trataros here with another Knicks and Jets episode of the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast. And with me, as always, my buddy, my co-host, pal, the man with the plan, the one and only John Meleka. Now, everyone, you all know the drill. If you listen to this podcast and you haven't already done so, please make sure to subscribe. We're on all audio listening platforms. We're on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon, Alexa, Stitcher, you name it. We are there. If you listen to us on Apple or Spotify, please make sure to give us that 5-star rating. And if you listen to us on Apple, please make sure to leave a review or comment. Actually, got to give a shout out because this is the thing. Like when we get a review, John, you know what it is. We got to give the shout out to someone who leaves us a new review. We got a new review coming in today from Big Mama. That's right, Big Mama. We appreciate you. Let me rephrase that. Mama 31012 says
just Mama.
Just Mama. But she's my Big Mama. All right, because it's very kind for what she did. She said, "Hosts are positive and knowledgeable. Keep up the good work." Gives that 5-star review. Thank you for supporting us. We appreciate that. If you also don't know, we're also partnered with Minute Media and Fansites. You can find this podcast on the Daily Knicks and the Jet Press. Also, make sure to go check out our YouTube channel, Knicks, Jets, etc. Period, no one writes out, etc. That shit is wild. Find the page, subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you know when a new episode drops. When you watch a video, hit the like button, leave a comment, add to the conversation. We want to know your thoughts and opinions. And while you're over at that YouTube channel, check out Winning Picks Weekly. John, video producer Greg, and our guy and co-host Chip Murphy. These guys break down every single sport. If you love sports gambling and you need to put money down on the line, these guys got you covered. They did their whole college futures, overs, unders. They did the AFC and NFC. If you guys love football, you know where to go. And then last and certainly not least,
we're here, baby. We made it.
We are here. And last and certainly not least, please make sure to follow us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. We are there. John, what's going on, bro? How you doing today? How was your Labor Day weekend?
Labor Day weekend was good. Had a couple weddings. Had some family time around the pool. College football started officially week 1, and they kind of let us bleed out into a Sunday game and a Monday game. So that was kind of nice of them. We appreciate that. It's NFL week 1. The Knicks saga is officially over. I feel like I finally have a Knicks off season. I'm living high right now, dude. I feel like the Rangers. I'm doing a group game for the Rangers home opener. That's right around the corner. I'm ready to go here, man. I feel like I'm injected with hopium right now. This is the time. No Knicks. Jets are 0-0. Rangers coming off a good season. Yankees, like we could just think about October. Like we got October wrapped up. Like I'm good right now. I'm living okay. Not thinking about Liverpool. Not thinking about Mo Salah. Just living good. How you doing?
Doing all right, man. I too attended a wedding. It's a good time to just mellow out before the season starts ramping up for football. You know how it is for Jets. We got to do the breakdown, the preview. But look, man, we got phenomenal guests, and we can't say the Knicks offseason just begun for you. All right, we got a phenomenal guest to break us down to have the proper closure with this Donovan Mitchell saga and help us go through the New York Jets entire season schedule. We got the one and only Andrew Claudio. We got him are you the executive producer of Knicks Film School? Okay.
That would be my official title. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Executive producer of Knicks Film School, host of Final Review Pod, and contributor to Just Mets and Simply Amazing Pod. Andrew, you are busy
man.
Man
All trades.
Man of all trades, yes. Guys,
and how the hell did you and
thank
you
you as always
planning
for
a wedding?
Me, yes, and planning a wedding at the same time. Thank you, Donovan Mitchell, for hijacking said summer. Although I think at this point it's thank you, Danny Ainge, for hijacking said summer. So wedding planning could be as stressful as possible. But I'm happy to take some time out of all of it to spend.
When in doubt, blame it on Ainge. I'm really good with that.
When in doubt, blame it on Danny Ainge. I agree.
Fuck that guy.
Co-sign. Yes.
What a start. Sorry.
So let's get into this then. Andrew,
Yes.
John and I, we went through, we kind of were happy that the deal didn't, I should say we are happy that the deal didn't go through because of the cost and all the cost that it took to get Donovan Mitchell to the Cavs. We knew the Knicks had to match something close to that. Probably would have involved RJ based on all the rumors. So we're happy that we still keep RJ Barrett. But then, as you know, Twitter, we just start seeing all this news from Woj, Begley, everybody from The Athletic, you name it. We're getting all these other proposed trades, all this other nonsense. Starting to learn from Gary Washburn of the Boston Globe that, it was Rosas who was doing the negotiations for us and not even Ainge on the Utah side, right? I think it was Zanin who they said was on the Utah side that was doing the negotiations as well. So now you read
which
that.
Is interesting by itself.
It is interesting. There's just so much news coming out about this Donovan Mitchell trade. It's like all the shrapnel of an atomic bomb that just landed. All right. And now we're just trying to navigate this wasteland of Donovan Mitchell that didn't happen. So, Andrew, I'm going to start off with you. What was your overall feelings when you got the tweet from Woj that day? And how do you feel now knowing all this information that is rolled out?
It's a good distinction because they are two different feelings. In the moment, when you see the package that eventually got the deal done, it was, all right, that's way too much. Knicks walked away. We're pivoting into RJ and the youth, and we'll roll with what we got here. And then you hear the trade packages they did offer. And it's why, and I mentioned this on, I'll plug it, the most recent episode of Knicks Film School, where we ourselves did a final, a cap or no cap on the Donovan Mitchell summer. And I can't feel good about the process. I just can't. I am concerned with their evaluation of RJ, whether you believe in him or not. This was just like, either make the deal or don't. Putting protections on a third pick being the deal breaker, but not the guy that is clearly your best prospect right now. And he's just like the equivalent of Colin Sexton to you in a deal is just very concerning. If you don't believe in him, why did you commit to him long term? I get it. Like, having him under contract and controllable for the next 4 years is fine, especially at a non-max price. But man, like the willingness to just give up quickly, the way Obi was thrown around in trade talks, and look, it's two unprotected picks. The report that John got, Mr. Macri, was Fournier, RJ, and 5 picks total, and Ainge turned that down. And look, across the board, I'm sure you guys saw the Bill Simmons clip that he and Russillo are like, why did Ainge turn that down? I'd want RJ 10 times out of 10, which fine, egg on Danny Ainge's face, but he got what he wanted, 3 future picks. Why are the Knicks offering this? And it's the first sign of concern that this front office has given me, because I was willing to forgive a lot throughout the last year in the half really fun team that is young and exciting, and Obi Toppin doing what he does in a limited role in the moments of quickly, and the good young pieces like Grimes and Sims and McBride, and the 34 game sample of RJ after the new year hit that looked like a high volume player that, if like a little bit better efficiency and some better free throws, and this is a guy that could, like, that's what I'm saying, better efficiency. Yeah. And you're looking at a guy that you could build around. And then you see the veterans that are still here. Then you see the coach that's still here, and the philosophy of a team that is just not all the way in on the young kids, but not all the way in on winning as many games as possible with the roster that's been constructed. And I can't feel good about the process. I'm relieved about the results, but it's funny. Jeremy had the best example or analogy last night. If you were at DEFCON 4, wherever you were before, you're now at DEFCON 3, and I'm at DEFCON 2 because I was at DEFCON 3 during the season when it just seemed like we were spinning our wheels playing Kemba and Alec Burks and Nerlens Noel and Taj Gibson. as many minutes as possible. So I don't. It's a relief, like you said. I'm glad they didn't make the deal. I'm not giving the Knicks credit for making the offer they did, and Danny Ainge apparently out of spite going elsewhere.
Yeah, and like John, I want to know your opinions first, but Andrew, I 100% agree with you on your feelings, because yes, that was the same feeling like I said at the beginning of the pod, where you're relieved, but now seeing all this information and seeing where they were in trades, like when you go to a table to negotiate, like you have to know what is off limits to you as a team. You have to know what, your max offer will be. And to me, it just seemed all over the place as someone who just sat down at the table and was like, oh yeah, I'm okay with this. Oh yeah, I'm okay with this. Oh yeah, I'm okay with this. With regard, except for the unprotected Knicks picks. Like, I get that they want to keep hold of their future, and that's fine. But when it comes to players, and it's RJ Barrett, and I'm looking at Donovan Mitchell and RJ being the focal point of this team when we were doing the whole breakdowns, covering this whole Donovan Mitchell trade saga, trading your third overall pick for Donovan Mitchell says a hell of a lot about the drafting process, your talent evaluation, and just, as you already pointed out, like your confidence in him to be better. Like, do you see, or do you believe in him and in him becoming that person that could be an all-star? It doesn't seem like it if you're ready to trade him for Donovan Mitchell, because I would want to see him here. And from how it started off in negotiations, it didn't seem like, we had that Ian Begley report where he was in it, then he was, and and we heard this whole talk like Ainge doesn't really want to pay somebody right now. And what he paid Colin Sexton is not something I would base that off of, because I believe RJ is going to be better than what Colin Sexton is going to be down the line. Colin Sexton, and shout out to you guys because I listened to the pod. I think I like when I listen to like Colin Sexton, like hearing you guys like how you broke it down, it's like, is he going to be a starter? Is he a sixth man? Like, that's kind of where he is, and that's kind of our Quickly. That's Emmanuel Quickly, like how he's treated. So if you're ready to put up RJ Barrett into a trade to match the Colin Sexton like offer, like what are we doing with RJ? Why are we even then investing this much time and like paying him and doing all these things and going that extra route? Then he should have been on the table. We should have started doing this a long time ago,
Yeah,
but
bad process,
I don't believe,
fine result. That's where I am at this point.
I actually disagree with you guys a lot on some points here. First of all, Alex, I don't think it's an indictment on the Knicks scouting for them feeling different about RJ. This is a different regime. They are allowed to feel different about RJ.
Partially.
They have no ties to him, and that's why I don't see it as, now they're just trying to, make up for their mistake of not taking Donovan Mitchell earlier when they had the chance, right, in the draft, because it's a whole new regime. I also disagree with Claudio when you're talking about how you lose, now you have no trust in this.
I didn't say no trust. It's the beginning of
Why?
curiosity if they know what they're
everything.
doing.
They did everything for you. Like,
what did they do?
So they wanted them to go after a superstar, right? We wanted a superstar in New York. We love Donovan Mitchell. They offered, let's go with, Knicks Film School. Let's go with Backery's offer, right, that he got. And we're talking 5 picks, RJ and Fournier, right, for salary purposes. That's a hell of a lot. I mean, they're saying we are willing to kind of trade it all. We are willing to risk it all to bring in the superstar. We even though we know we're not going to be a playoff team. They're not stupid. They know if they bring in Donovan Mitchell, they are kind of, I would say they're kind of appeasing the fan base, especially after last year, right? Because in my opinion, that's all it would be doing. It's a terrible pick, right? It would be a terrible trade to trade the 5 picks away, trade RJ Barrett, who you could sign for cheap on a deal, right? Mitchell's obviously going to be more expensive. It's a terrible deal, right? And we offered it, which is what I think they're trying to appease everyone, because we would have cleared house, right? And we would have traded Randle away. It would have been Mitchell, it would have been IQ, would have been Obi, would have been the young guys. It would have kind of just been Mitchell and the young guys, which
I think it's the exact opposite, to be honest.
Go ahead, tell me.
So if they're not clearing a house of anybody, they would have been in the final trade offer, like that, like the exact trade offer that Rhodes reported. It was Fournier quickly, RJ, and then 2 unprotecteds, a top 5 protected. So the Knicks lose that.
I kind of like. Which I kind of. I know. I know that bothers you, but I kind of like it. Yeah, I know.
Why do you like? Well, so what do you like about it?
Because that's where the odds really fall off, right? For the top 5 picks.
But you can only guarantee that you finish in the top 5 by having the worst possible record, which is not something that you're going to plan to have if Donovan Mitchell's on your team in 6 years. So that's going to be a pick that you lose anyway. So why is top 5 protections even part of the calculation? And the larger conversation that I have a problem with, it blocks you from doing literally anything to improve the roster going forward. But why is that the line in the sand? Why is a top 5 protection? Why are you even offering the pick? And even better, if they walked away because RJ's an untouchable, I can be like, you know what? They believe in the kid. It's why you understand Danny Ainge not trading Jaylen Brown for Kawhi, or the Sixers not trading Tyrese Maxey, or all these other examples. The Toronto not even entering the Kevin Durant sweepstakes because they believe in Scotty Barnes. If you have a young controllable piece that you believe in as a prospect, they're not even part of the conversation. And if the Knicks had that, I'd be more comfortable with it. The evaluation of top 5 protections being the deal breaker here seems like you don't know what you're doing. It's you just said it would be a bad trade. I can't credit the Knicks.
That's the thing. Because we're upset that we don't have Donovan Mitchell. We offered everything to the point where we're doing a bad deal.
I'm not. I don't know.
Okay,
it's not.
Yeah.
It's more upsetting for the fact of like how they went about trying to get Donovan Mitchell. Like, you have to saying that you value a top 5 protected pick over the kid that you drafted 3rd overall is more of an indictment on you. And I say that because you still have Scott Perry. I don't know who else is still in that front office, but he was part of that administration that wanted the kid. All right. He was also part of that administration that wanted Mitchell Robinson. So when you have, and if you're investing in Scott Perry to stay here, that means you believe in his talent evaluation, you believe in his deal making. So this is where it's an indictment still on the front office. Like, it all comes together. So if you wanted what the Knicks needed to do, and this is how it would really work. RJ is untouchable. They come asking for RJ, knocking on the door. You say no. The picks, irrelevant. I don't know who is going to be there in whatever year that pick was going to be. So was it, let's say it was 26, it was 25, 27, 29. So 29, the 3rd pick with the top 5 protection. Who's going to be there? Why are you even worried about who's going to be there in the top 5? That doesn't even make sense. And if you were trading for Donovan Mitchell, who wants to be in New York, like, the Knicks should, like, as Claudio pointed out, like, he should be here for 6 years. If the Knicks are that bad where they trade a player who is on contract for 3, 4 if he opts in, right, and he leaves after 6 years, that's also an indictment on the front office. Like, that's how my thought process is as well, where you can't say, I'm going to invest all of this for a guy and then just worry about the last piece, which is, well, we want to control our future. Your future is not going to be tanking if you have Donovan Mitchell on this team. Like, you're not going to even be close to that. We have Julius Randle, who's not even in that stratosphere of Donovan Mitchell, and we still can't even tank with him. So, like, if you bring Donovan Mitchell on here, you're not tanking. That, and if he's here for that long, it does not matter. So what the Knicks needed to do was say, RJ's untouchable, all the picks can go, and then you got to figure out all the other players that you want to add in there. That would have been the right thing. I just don't see, like, being all over the place, starting off with when it comes out to Obi and Fournier, then quickly, and then RJ. It's just all over the place. There was no strategy that went into this. And that's where I start to question this front office, is that we've seen them do good strategic things for trading. We understood even when whiffing on free agency, I could say at least there was a thought process I can get behind. You want to take the risk on Kemba Walker because if he does have a bounce back season, okay. You want some playmaking, Evan Fournier, okay. This, for a star, to me, made absolutely no sense. And that's where I'm like, where's this front office doing when it comes to an actual superstar that's available? And you know what'd even be better is to look at what you have on your roster and say, we can try to trade, but we really don't have all the assets to make this trade, because Cleveland clearly did.
No, we had a better offer on the table. So that's the
Yes,
thing.
that would have wiped us.
That's the thing. It's a bad offer. Whether it's a better offer or not, it's still a bad offer.
I listen. There's no human being happier on the earth that this trade didn't go through, because I am the one that's been crying since the Melo trade about how we ruined the franchise every single time we trade everyone for someone that looks cute, that looks nice, doesn't play defense, right? It's always the same story, and we trade everything. We trade our picks, we trade our guys, whether we drafted them, whether we trade cap space, we trade everything for these nice little, okay, yeah, you're going to score 35 points and we're going to lose by 45. It was, so when that trade came through, when it first said, I think Woj first did the Donovan Mitchell to the Cavs. So then I was like, oh, this is the worst. Like, here we go. My phone's blowing up. I was working at the time too. So I'm like, here we go. Like, the gauntlet's about to come. And then I saw the package and I said, amazing, because if all they did was switch RJ for Sexton, I would have been pissed. Like, just like the same exact with the two swaps, so you can control everything with the undrafted picks, I would be pissed off. But where I'm going to, I guess, in Knicks Twitter theme, I'll say I'm being the company man here. And like, I'm speaking from the Knicks side. We did everything. We negotiated in good faith. We know that we have a history with Ainge and with CAA, so we didn't even put Leon Rose in the room, right? So it had nothing to do with that. Obviously, we put a deal that was so over the top that our fan base doesn't even want, right? Our fan base is completely irrational, and that we want to trade everything for everyone, and we get pissed off about literally everything. We were going to light the whole place on fire because we didn't draft Dennis Smith Jr., right? Like, we are ready to be irrational. We still didn't want this trade, but we tried. We did everything we could, and now just kind of shut up. Like, we paid RJ Barrett, right? We got him for a deal that wasn't the max. Everyone was screaming about Berman, about, oh, you don't want the max, you hate RJ, and he was kind of right. Like, we got a deal on RJ Barrett. We dropped the PR the same day. We knew this was going to be a blowback for RJ, right? We know the issue was, oh, you don't respect your own guys. You're like, how can you treat RJ like this? So we signed him on that same exact day. We made him feel like the star. We did the PR stunt. It didn't look great, right? I mean, that whole week was, the only thing I wish, like, the Knicks fans knew, like, I wish I knew that was like a funeral for Donovan Mitchell, right? That first day when it was like, all right, we got RJ, we're going to sign him. And then there was like 2 or 3 days of, oh my God, does this mean we could still trade him? Jeremy was on, Knicks film school, like, oh, you can still trade him, but it's a poison pill. And, he's going, I wish I just knew that day it was, okay, we moved on from Mitchell and now RJ's officially our guy. And that's kind of what they did. Maybe the optics look horrible, but if you're RJ Barrett, are you that pissed? Probably. Honest to God. You really think he's that? I think now this just means it's officially his team. I think he's getting paid the most. They're going to move Randle like everybody wants. And then he's going to be getting paid more than Jalen Brunson, who everyone thinks is overpaid. So it's going to be RJ's team.
And this is where, to counterpoint, it's not RJ's team yet. He's currently third on the depth chart in usage, or at least tracked to be third on the depth chart in usage. Jalen Brunson is going to have the ball more than him. Julius Randle is going to have the ball more than him. And it's why, as things currently sit, I don't like the process. And as far as their evaluation of talent, that you're ready to include quickly in Ovi and RJ and all these trades. And then when the trade falls through, you still have veterans ahead of 2 of them in the depth chart. So you can't even appreciate their value. You're not going to be able to see how high those values can go as the roster currently stands, which is why if they had gone all in, I would have hated it. But the consolidation move they did was they traded all these kids, said, screw you to the entire fan base. And we got Donovan Mitchell. And then that's the team. And we're going to see what their next move would have been. I have no idea what the move
that would have been the worst
been.
Team ever, man.
I don't know what the ceiling on that team is, because they would have needed. Danny Ainge was determined to gut the Knicks because Donovan Mitchell wanted to come here. They were pissed about them going to that Dallas-Utah playoff game. And so as a result, out of spite, he was ready to clean the Knicks house. But I don't have the optics of giving RJ the extension, not announcing it until it's a counter announcement to the Donovan Mitchell trade is just not how you tell your young quote unquote star or rising star, that you believe in him. You're using him to deter bad PR, not as a celebration that we signed you to a long-term commitment. Like if they jumped out of a plane without a parachute, just because they land on their 2 feet, I don't give you credit. You still jumped out of a plane without a parachute here. And that's where I am at the moment. I'm worried about this team and their ability to evaluate talent and what actually is the best path forward. Now, that can change. And we made that clear last night on the pod. They trade Randle so much this offseason, forgiven. But as things currently sit, I have a lot of questions, and I have a lot more questions than answers than when the beginning of the summer of Donovan Mitchell started.
And I think the questions to add on to that is more so for the fact that where is this team going? Like what direction are we like? Because it was all last season. It's like play the kids. No, you wanted to play the vets and you wanted to win as many games as possible to be a playoff team. Okay. If the Knicks decide to go and say, even though me personally, I wanted to keep RJ on this team, if they traded RJ saying we're moving for Donovan Mitchell because we're trying to compete now, I can at least say, all right, this is their MO. They're trying to compete now. That's why they got Brunson. That's why they're getting Mitchell. This is why they're doing everything they do. I'm like, I don't necessarily agree with it, but at least I see the vision. All right. There's not even a vision. It's just like we're hedging our bets. We're like, well, if we can get Donovan Mitchell on the cheap, in our eyes, that's a win for us. And it's like, well, if we don't, then what are we going to do? We're just going to keep the same team. Are we going to go young? Are we going to get rid of Fournier? Or are we going to get rid of Randle? Like that's the stuff that needs to happen next to say, oh, so now we're going to appreciate the young kids. But if you're just going to keep it status quo as we did last year, now it's like, what the fuck are we doing? And that's where I get it. That's where I get irritated.
To piggyback on your point you just made, Alex, it's why my questions are also their evaluation of the talent on this roster. I think they'd win more games if you saw more of Obi Toppin and Quentin Grimes and Emmanuel Quickley. And we saw that final 14-game stretch, they went 9-5 with Obi and IQ averaging over 25 minutes a game. Now, I understand like the rosters they were playing were teams playing out the string, but I also saw a more competitive team that was more fun to watch. They played with pace. The Miami game in particular, where they came back against the Miami team in the fourth quarter on the road that was trying to get the number 1 seed. And Emmanuel Quickley almost by himself led a comeback with Randle watching from the sideline. I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt that they know the best roster or the rotation to play. Their evaluation of the talent in play that will lead to more wins. I know what their philosophy is, and that's why we try to take what we believe and what we think out of the conversation when we talk over at KFS, but it is a fair concern. Like, well, do you understand? Like, do you know what the best rotation is? Like, do you know that playing Randle like 25 minutes and Obi 23 would actually be the better plan? Or are we looking at like Obi playing 8 minutes on opening night and standing in the corner for 2?
And
rotations?
this is, and it's fair to be skeptical because when you start seeing when you talk about PR, and you're like, we value the youth that we have on this team and we believe in them and this, that, and the third. And then you're ready to gut the entire youth that you have.
Exactly. Yeah.
For Donovan Mitchell. It's like, so you never did believe in them because.
No, but they do. It's over.
How do
like
you, no,
because
no.
Try,
if you're ready to gut the team, for Donovan Mitchell, that's just selling tickets at this point and not really asking to win.
It's not linear, man. I think they were actually negotiating in good faith. And then once the trade didn't go through, they pivoted and then they said, you know what?
But negotiating in good faith doesn't necessarily mean it's a strategic and thoughtful negotiation. I'm not asking for them to like I get it. You have to give up something in order to get something. It's not good. It's not going to be comfortable. You shouldn't feel comfortable. If you start swindling people, that's when you start feeling like that's when you start knowing you got you're doing bad negotiations. When I look at Cleveland, they did a good job negotiating. They still have a starting caliber roster. They didn't gut the team. They were able to trade a lot of, role players that they didn't want and still trade assets, meaning like their draft picks, knowing that we should be a good team. All right. We're taking a gamble because we don't know if Donovan Mitchell wants to be here long-term, but we're going to take that gamble regardless. And we're going to feel uncomfortable by trading all those draft picks to do so. Knicks, it just, what do you value the youth of the players? Because you're ready to include all of them. but you value your draft picks who you have no idea who's going to be there in the future, which is
like,
even more questionable.
Does Boston value Jaylen Brown? Like, of course they do. Of course they do. And they were ready to trade him. It's okay. Like, I don't that's why I don't think it's all linear. Go ahead, Claudio.
They were willing to trade him for 4 years of control for Kevin Durant, and he's already expressed concern and frustration about it, and he can leave in a year for one of the biggest contracts ever. So that's why they were willing to trade Jaylen Brown. It's two different timelines that we're talking about. But to your point about Jaylen Brown, they did show that they value Jaylen Brown by not trading him for Paul George, not trading him for Kawhi when he was on a rookie scale controllable contract. And that asset mattered more. And it's why, again, if they had said, we value these kids too much, Utah, go elsewhere. And that was the summer. It'd be like, damn, like, we really missed out on another star becoming available, but they value the players currently on the roster. For the line in the sand that they drew to be top five protections on a 2029 pick makes no sense, especially as a negotiating tool when Danny Ainge made it clear from the beginning that's the only thing that mattered to him. The last thing
I'll add about Jaylen Brown. The last thing I'll add about Jaylen Brown before you get to that is that Jaylen Brown and Tatum also went to a finals together this past year. So then to be included into a trade after you just made the finals.
It's even less of a reason to want to trade him.
Right?
That's
to my points.
Yeah.
That's even more egregious.
It's not, though, because you're adding on to a team that ceiling was make it to the finals. Like the Knicks, we don't know if the ceiling is the play-in or like the 6th seed with Donovan Mitchell. So you're willing to gut the roster to be a 6th seed with Mitchell, but you're confident in his offensive ability that you could build around that for he's 25. So the next 10 years is what you're hoping. And like the Jaylen Brown, if that's a trade, it's taking a team that was 2 wins away from a title and adding Kevin Durant. The Knicks, it would be gutting any hope or potential pop of one of these kids, especially since RJ's in this deal, and all your draft capital for just the unknown of how you build a team after that, which is why I'm sorry, I can't get on board with that process. I don't see the path to anything extensionally better after that.
Okay, so you're going to be good with getting rid of Fournier and Randle all of a sudden? Like now the direction of the team is good because now we could play Obi a couple more minutes, right?
Not a couple. I want max minutes for Obi. Yes.
I mean,
I'm a big Obi guy.
I'm very concerned. I'm telling you right now, I'm very concerned about Obi Toppin playing starter minutes against real power forwards in this league. I know I'm not allowed to say it out loud. I know that's blasphemy, in our spaces, but he's going to get absolutely murdered on the boards. And if someone puts their back to him, like they're going to eat him up in the paint. Like Karl Anthony Towns might drop 45 on Obi Toppin. Maybe.
Right? And what they can do offensively, which Benji's done a really good job of highlighting just how much more important offense is today, which is why he was very pro trade what you can for Donovan Mitchell. What they can do offensively with Jalen Brunson on the floor, with RJ on the floor, and like, you already have Mitchell Robinson who's going to clog the paint, but with Obi and Grimes playing off of them, two guys that don't need the ball to succeed, would have been much more fun, much more successful. You could play with that pace that Tibbs likes to push, and that would have been an option, which is why Fournier going elsewhere is more about seeing what you can, if Grimes appreciates. Plus, you talk about defense, Grimes, significantly better defender than a Fournier. And look, I may be looking at the last 14 games and being a little naive. I just know this team was much more fun to watch with Obi Toppin on the floor. And the point here is not how many games is this team going to win with Obi Toppin. Let me see what it looks like. I know how many teams this can win with Julius Randle with fans in the stands. Which is why
how many? I honestly don't, because it could be either or, right?
I don't think he'll be as bad as last year. I don't think that 2021 we hear season is ever happening again, which is why this is probably going to turn into the rest of the September of Julius Randle if we just had the summer of Donovan Mitchell. I don't know how you're successful if he isn't either significantly lowered in role or on a different team. because if he's
Or
playing
learns
the
how to-
same
or-
high volume minutes and the same high usage player that he was, that's shooting 30% from 3 and 40% from the field, there's your way to tank for Wembanyama because the offense is running through Julius Randle again.
And on top of that, like, or he has to like learn how to be a completely off-ball player, which is just not going to happen.
But
It just won't
that's
happen.
honestly my biggest campaign for Obi is that it's more possessions for RJ. It actually becomes RJ's team. Obi can take 7 shots a night, and because he's opportunistic with his shots, like, oh, 5 of them were alley-oops, 2 of them were putback dunks.
Sure,
You know?
he'll play the Sean Marion role. But where there's a sticking point for me here, and like we started this conversation talking about how both you guys are honestly upset for the Knicks offering RJ, right? And for the Knicks offering not just the picks, but also the stickler being the top 5. That seems to be the main point here. And I'm kind of pushing back is to say, I agree with you. It was a lot. I'm happy they didn't make the trade. It would have been crazy, but I'm not off on this front office because they wanted to make. We moved on. And now all they have to do is get rid of Fournier and Julius Randle, 2 players that they've been rumored to be trying to get rid of this front office for now 6.5 months, right? I think since last February, right? Since the deadline, we've been talking about getting rid of Fournier, getting rid of Randle. We know they want to get rid of them. Now it's time for, Patrick Beverley jokes about how, he had to wait until the KD thing happened so that he can get moved, which seemingly should have nothing to do with each other. I mean, at this point, don't you think that the Fournier and Randle deals maybe will get the ball rolling here? You don't think that they might trade them at this point now if Fournier might have went for Mitchell?
John, I said it. If they do it, all is forgiven. Like,
but that's
I'm
the thing.
with
That's
you
what's
on
crazy. That's what's crazy to me, right? That's my second point here. I'm not trying to get at you guys, but
that. You're good. This is good podcasting.
yeah, that's where my issue is, because all of a sudden, if they just do the thing that they've been trying to do since last February, they're gonna get literally nothing back for those 2 players. All of a sudden, all's forgiven for this RJ, trade
Because
and trading the young guys. Now we
start to get a direction. To get the direction. It makes sense to say, oh, I wouldn't say I'm completely like back on board. Like, oh yeah, everything's great, because the negotiations would still be like, all right, I'm not as highly concerned. I'm still concerned because your negotiation tactics are a little off base, but as long as you could say, all right, we fucked up. We got to move with the youth because we got to see what their value is, increase their value, and actually give this team a fair shot instead of competing for something that we shouldn't probably even be competing for to begin with. We're not even there to be competing for a championship, but yet we're just trying to compete for a 10th spot. Like, this is Orlando Magic type of nonsense where what they're now doing, which is, guys, we got to play the youth. We're going to suck, but we got to accumulate more talent on this team to get better, because being the 8th seed doesn't make any sense. It's just mediocrity. And it's going to be very difficult to add talent. It's going to be difficult and it's been very difficult to bring talent into New York, which is, we just saw how difficult it was just to even do a trade. Guys aren't doing free agency. This is the way to start correcting it.
This was plan A, dude. This was plan A. Get Brunson and figure it out, and possibly move in the direction of the young guys, which I do think is going to happen. And then all of a sudden, Minnesota happened with Danny Ainge and Gobert, and then all of a sudden, everybody knew they had to have a fire sale. It came out of nowhere. I don't think that the Knicks, in my crazy head, maybe I have a tinfoil hat, maybe I'm just being optimistic. They thought the summer of Donovan Mitchell was next year.
So do all we heard too. Yeah,
I'm sure. But so you don't believe in like having like a line in the sand saying this is what's untouchable. Like, you love RJ Barrett. You didn't want RJ Barrett to go in the deal.
Of course
right?
not. But
of course not. So you're not upset with the front office saying we're going to give up our best player like in a deal when should have been.
On, bro. I'm happy it didn't happen. Like, I move on. Like, it's all good. He signed for the extension. And listen, if he wasn't signed for the extension, it would have been an issue. You know what I'm trying to say? Because you're telling me it's all good if they trade Fournier and Randle. To me, that's innocuous to RJ Barrett. You know what I'm saying? I don't think RJ Barrett's happiness.
I don't think it's innocuous. Those are 2
guys
that command shots. Yeah.
Listen, I don't think RJ Barrett is going to go home.
I don't get
sleeping happy or unhappy whether or not Fournier and Randle are on the team. I think it'll be more fun if he's with Obi and IQ or.
I absolutely think he will. He has incentives in a contract that his money goes up if he makes the All-Star team and the All-NBA team. He's
same thing with Randle. Randle needs touches, man. Randle needs to get those incentives too. Like,
these guys need the ball to make more money. I understand. Like,
that's how
weird to us that like, how could you not be okay with $106 million? But RJ's likely bonuses will turn into unlikely bonuses like Julius Randle's contract just did if he doesn't have the ball, which is why the Knicks, I think, were done, which would have been a problem if they had the day of free agency, it was just sign Brunson, sign Mitch, Isaiah Hartenstein. Because you still have a logjam on this roster, which is why shout out to Jeremy was always reassuring me they're not done. We've got more moves to look forward to.
I agree.
And then, like you said, everything we heard is they were looking for other potential suitors, but that it's most likely going to be that Randle's on the roster. And we're now at the point where if in the next 3 weeks they actually do what we said needed to be done this entire offseason and move on from this contract, okay, now I can call this offseason successful, but it was incomplete when the summer of Donovan Mitchell started, not a success. And now when you don't even go in on, you went all in on Donovan Mitchell, but just not all the way enough, I guess is a better way to put it.
Thank God.
That's my thing. We're thanking God for them not doing this trade, not commending them for not doing this.
Exactly. It's like, the lucky part is that the Cavs said, we're going to give you this offer. Don't go back to the Knicks. And Danny Ainge was like, bet I won't. Let's do this.
Jeremy had the analogy last night. If I swing at you to punch you in the face, if I miss, you don't be like, thank God you didn't hit me. Claudio didn't hit me in the face. I got no problem with Claudio. I still tried to punch you in the face, John. That is a problem.
It's funny because that exact line,
it's a weird.
I still try to punch you in the face, John, is exactly the same line that was used on Knicks Film School, except just
yes.
For this John.
Yeah.
But the only difference is Danny Ainge, in my opinion, was never going to hit the accept button. Right, it's fantasy football season. He was never going to accept this trade.
Then if they had walked away sooner, I'd have so much more appreciation and respect for the process. If they were like, he's not going to accept any deals that we make. We know we have the best offer to give him, regardless if RJ's in the package or not. We're walking away. And if Ainge had come back to the table and been like, I can't find anything else, I'm willing to do a trade with the Knicks. And if the reporting we got was the Knicks drew a hard line in the sand of like certain players on the roster are off limits, and we don't think the Jazz are negotiating in good faith, fine. Their willingness to not only make the offer they made, but then continue to allow it to be reported that they made the offer they made is such bad PR and such bad optics and not a culture that anybody's going to want to come play with. So be the first person to sign a long-term extension as a first-round pick. What's going to happen the day they announce? They're going to report across the world that you are willing to be traded for Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah. I got you. I got you there. I mean, it doesn't look great, but at the same time, I honest to God, in my crazy brain, call it whatever you want, I think that Fournier and Randle are going to be traded. So then for you guys,
your mouth to God's ears,
and I'm back down to DEFCON 4
exactly.
if they are.
Everything's going to be great. So that's why I honestly truly believe that, because to be honest with you, I don't think Tibbs wants that headache. And then this is my true conspiracy hat. There's too much nice talk about Russell Westbrook going on from Lakers players, like Beverly Outward coming out saying, I love Russell Westbrook. And Jeannie Buss coming saying, I love Russell Westbrook. And LeBron saying, I can't wait to play with Russell Westbrook. That just makes it seem like, like talk about movie references, like Joe Pesci going in the room. He's a made man. Like that's everyone's doing to Russell Westbrook right now. And they're about to trade him so fast. And I think that we're going to be part of that equation.
I hate to say it. I think where they're playing C or maybe even they're playing D at this point. The Lakers guy that we talked to was like plan A is Kyrie, plan B is Miles Turner and Buddy Hield, plan C has become Conley and Bogdanovich, and plan D is whatever the Knicks can offer. And then look, yeah, it's to get Russ and buy him out, and as Alex mentioned, like pivot to an actual plan rather than a half measure. And like, you guys watch Breaking Bad? Did you see the show? Okay,
no, I say that I have.
Okay, so I made the analogy yesterday that there's a consequential scene in the show about, so like the whole concept of the show is a character named Walter White is a chemistry teacher, right? That because he knows chemistry, he's the greatest meth cook in the Midwest. And he's balancing a life of being half that chemistry teacher that is also dying of cancer and just wants to leave his family a little bit of money. And because of his knowledge and his expertise is actually experiencing power and the name of his like famous name as a cook is Heisenberg. And then there's a scene in season 3 where someone says to him, like, you got to choose one, no more half measures. And my message to Leon Rose is no more half measures. You are either a tanking team, which I don't even know if it's tanking, because I don't even like to call it that word. Tanking is so much more egregious than what I think the Knicks would do.
Yep.
You are a developing team that has pivoted to the youth to see what they are, and they're all part of the solution in the future, and the record doesn't matter. Or you're going with a veteran-led roster with Tom Thibodeau coaching, which is why at least if you had traded for Donovan Mitchell, I would have hated the deal, but it makes sense as a plan. Whether I like the plan or not, it's at least a plan. There are half measures on this roster right now. If you trade Randle, you trade Fournier, it's a much more of a direct plan. And Derrick Rose, by the way, too. It's much more of a direct plan.
Jeez.
And listen,
That
it's an
hurt.
expiring contract. At this point,
That
he's
hurt,
their
man.
best value as a trade
Ooh.
piece. My point
That
is,
hurt.
you do those deals, John. I can at least be like, all right, they've pivoted to a plan, a direct full measure that I can appreciate.
That's fair.
Oh man, that was good, Donovan. That was good. That was good, Donovan Mitchell talk.
Mm.
Very good, Donovan. And on this, I think we could just close the book on that
I just
chapter.
can't wait. I just can't wait till Fournier and Randle are traded so I can come back to you guys with a big hug, big smile, tell you everything's okay. Tell you we can start the season on a good note.
We've been at this for months is the problem. I need somebody
Well,
to
domino just
actually
fell.
report, but that's not the
Domino just
domino.
fell.
That's not the domino I'm talking about. The Randall domino could have been done way before Donovan Mitchell got traded.
True.
I need to know that this front office actually is like prioritizing trading him is my point. The only people talking about trading him is us. Right now.
That's true. That's a good point.
We're not, and only very few of us in this circle, i.e. Macri, CP, those guys who actually get sources. we're just talking about it because please help us help you so that way we can go and be excited. You know what I mean?
Bingo.
Oh man. Well, let's close this book. This chapter on the Donovan Mitchell saga. It'll probably come back up sometime because I don't know if he wants to stay out in Cleveland. Even though he posted that picture of him in a Cleveland jersey, I'm like,
Give it some time.
What
really,
was
bro?
the jersey though? Who was the jersey?
I don't even know.
Was
I honestly don't
LeBron?
even know.
What number was it? I didn't see.
Wasn't it
didn't see
LeBron?
I think it might have been LeBron. I mean,
What
he's young enough.
kid
To,
didn't have LeBron James'
that's what
jersey?
I mean, that's what I'm saying at this
Like-
point. Like,
If he posted a Tracy McGrady T-Mac jersey, it's not because he wanted to go play in Toronto. It's because T-Mac and that jersey was one of the coolest jerseys growing up.
it's great PR, man. It's just great PR.
That's all
That
it
actually
is.
is that does make me feel really old though. That Donovan Mitchell's a little kid wearing LeBron jerseys. in
Yeah,
Cleveland.
tell
I
me
just
about
feel-
it, dude.
Yeah,
Tell me about it.
feels
It's-
weird.
It is also why when someone like when Jalen Brunson and RJ and some of these guys post young themselves when young versions of themselves in Knicks jerseys, that's how you know they were Knicks fans. There wasn't a player other than Melo that was universally loved around the
Exactly.
country.
Like seeing a
that you had
Spree
their
jersey.
a Spreewell jersey for Obi Toppin. It's like, oh, you grew up a Knicks fan. Okay.
Pretty soon they're gonna start wearing Mellow jerseys, and that's gonna make me feel really weird.
Very much so. Although maybe Melo jersey from 2022 is why they're wearing it. But
Honest-
that
At this point, I feel like he should go to Denver, but that's just me. I think he should do a
never
run in
happened,
Denver.
John. That's never
Never
happening.
happened.
You don't think
They-
so? Does he have bad blood?
So much bad blood. They
I
gave
don't
his
know.
they
100%.
they gave his number to Jokic.
Oh, is that a thing?
Yeah.
What if he rocks the number 7?
I'm
Okay.
more confident in Julius Randle playing on a different team next year.
Okay, that's fair.
Carmelo
That's
Anthony
fair.
playing for Denver.
I hope those both happen now.
Yeah,
Send the Randall
yeah.
to the Hornets and put Melo in Denver.
And Denver. Yeah.
I just want all your dreams to come true. This is like we know Mets October is right around the corner.
Oh, don't bring them up. Don't
we know
bring
the
them up.
Jets. We know the Jets season's right about to start. We need to keep it as positive as possible.
So let's
Yeah.
switch to some positivity.
Uh-oh.
let's talk
Ah,
about the
you
Jets.
actually switched. There you go.
Let's switch it up. All right. Yeah, we're gonna talk some New York Jets today. All right.
Week one,
As a
baby.
week one tradition that we started here is having Claudio on, having break down the entire season, getting some feeling on the Jets and where we're going with this season, and Come on, it's optimism at this point. Just pure optimism. Nothing's happened yet. They went undefeated during preseason.
Let's go.
So that's a good thing.
Did they now?
Yeah. Everyone talking about the Ravens. Nobody's mentioning the Jets out here, Claudio. We got you. We got you with the real important facts.
There you go.
Knicks, Jets, etc. Jets undefeated in the preseason. Shout out to you last year. We were definitely more on the optimistic side going over the schedule. But you were right for like the first 4 or 5 weeks, but it was pretty easy because it's like L.
Mm-hmm.
We had like one win. You're like, so that was fun. This year, last year we had it on paper, according to the NFL, one of the hardest schedules in the league. This year we've been blessed, so it's a little bit easier. However, it's got the first 4 games, and we know that NFL players and NFL coaches especially like to break up the season in quarters. The first 4 games of the season is versus the entire AFC North. So it really starts off really, really tough for the New York Jets. But before we even get to that, in the preseason, we had Zach Wilson hurt. So we're recording here on Tuesday. We're going to find out tomorrow if he's officially, quote unquote, okay to play. So I'll just throw it up to you first. And then, Alex, I want to hear what you think. Do you guys want Joey Flacco, the elite Joe Flacco, to go up against the Baltimore Ravens?
Yes.
With a lot of rookies, honestly, on their defense, but I'm one of my favorite defenses, one of my favorite rookie draft class in general, owning on special teams. We know Harbaugh. Or do you want Zach Wilson coming back, which I think like literally 1 month or 1 week ago, we were all in shambles after the, him throwing an interception and then the non-contact knee injury. So Claudio, week 1, if he's able to play, do you want Zach Wilson or do you want Joey Flacco going against the Ravens?
You gotta hope that if he's healthy enough to play, that he'll play. This is where I'm honestly gonna turn to you guys. I told you before we started that my knowledge of the Jets, my focus of the Jets has become much more casual over the summer. However, just from
franchise
a value
quarterback. This is your franchise
exactly.
Quarterback,
if you're telling me that so that's where I'm gonna ask you guys. If he's not 100%, of course you don't play him. But if he's 75, is there enough of a difference? Okay, so I'm getting two heads shaking. Heads shaking. No. So this is I'll go with you guys across the board. No, don't.
Okay,
Hell no. I do not want to see Zach Wilson week 1. First of all,
thank God.
Just give me Joe Flacco week 1. Get me the revenge game against the Baltimore Ravens, because there's going to be something in the tank for Joe Flacco to say, I'm gonna show you guys and take you all out. And as he comes out with his walker, trying to bomb a 70-yard ball to Elijah Moore, which will just help me fantasy-wise, but that's another story. But hey, I have him two keepers in 2 different leagues, all right? Elijah Moore, wide receiver 1 of the New York Jets. I'm calling it right now. Yeah, I don't need to see Zach Wilson potentially get injured again, so that's why I'm just let him rest. Let him get ready for the entire season. It's a long season, 17 games. Just give me Joe Flacco week 1. Don't even tease this. Don't even tease the idea of him coming back.
All right, just so we're on this game, is this a win for the home opener for Flacco against the Ravens?
Yes.
No.
I'm calling it a win.
Okay, we're going with the L.
See,
okay,
this is where you watch the team too much, or you're too optimistic. I'm just gonna be wrong. Claudio's probably gonna be more right than I.
Yeah. I'm look, they're
fair.
young. I know the Jets are young. I know that they had a good draft by all talent evaluators. What I said, that we had Peter Schrager on the pod a couple weeks ago, and
that was awesome.
Thank you. What I said to him was, I'm really less concerned about the record. If they have what the Lions had last year, they were 3-13-1, which sucks, but they were 11-6 against the spread. Give me 17 competitive football games and let me know that they're actually building towards something where I could be like, dang, and like a couple bounces to go a different way. And this team is like 8-9 and I'll take it. So if they're 6-11 at the end of this year, yeah, that sucks. But if they're like 12-5 against the spread and all these games were close and it took Justin Tucker breaking records in order for us to lose games, then like I'll sign up for that right now. I also just, hopefully the quarterback is more of a solution and still a question. going forward, you know?
Claudio, if the
What?
Jets go 12-5 against a spread, I am a rich man.
Well, you should also want them to go
I
12-5
am literally.
against
This
the
is
spread.
like my number one Achilles heel. 'Cause I
Uh-huh.
can be objective about every other team, especially when we're talking spreads, when we're talking games, when we're picking anything. But when it comes to the Jets, I'm like, oh, they got this. Oh, plus 14.5. Oh, no problem. Oh, plus 7.5. Oh, no issue. But they never cover, dude. This is the issue with the Jets in general. But I don't convince myself that at 12:50 on kickoffs. But right now, I know that they never cover games. So let's stick with the first four, though. We got Ravens at home, and then we're at the Browns for their home opener. Back home versus the Bengals. Don't forget Mike White game last year. And then at the Steelers. I mean, they have to have that circled, highlighted in every single color, waiting to play the Jets again. And then week 4 at the Steelers, don't have a quarterback, but they do have an elite defense. But before we get into that, you said you're a little raw on the Jets, so I'll give you a quick. We might have the best. Well, I guarantee you, we have the best defense that you can possibly remember. Like since like the Revis, Bart Scott, whatever. Just since those days, we have the best. I don't know if that says much, right? Because like we had really horrible defenses in between, right? So at least like we're getting somewhere back to that realm. We have a really our edges and our D line we have so much depth that we're cutting starters, right? We had 7 starters that got picked up on the waivers, most ever for the Jets. Nobody cares about that, but it just means we have a really deep roster, and I think that comes in the secondary, and I think that comes in the D-line. We're not going to guard a tight end. We're not going to guard a single running back out of the backfield. It's just not going to happen the entire year. It doesn't matter who you are. If you have a tight end against the Jets, take them. If you have a running back that can catch out of the backfield, they're going to murder us. Okay? It's just absolutely going to happen. On the offense, like you said, we have no idea what's going to happen with the quarterback situation. We're loaded on, running backs and wide receivers, but who knows if we can get them the ball, and who knows if the offensive line. I mean, it looks good. We'll see if it happens. So we have a lot of questions everywhere, honestly, besides the secondary and the D line. So when I say that, and I say our first 4 games, you already have an L at home versus the Ravens. Now we're at First Energy Stadium, which is a horrible name, for the Browns home opener with Jacoby Brissett. Is that another L, or can we finally win a game here?
That's a W.
Okay, thank God, because we're gonna come home against the Bengals, and I know that's an L, right?
That's an L.
Super
and then
L at Pittsburgh.
Man,
No Ben
Week 4.
Roethlisberger though.
no Big Ben. It's Trubisky starting there now, right?
Well,
Yes, sir.
Right now it's Trubisky. Who knows? Might be picking by week 4.
Okay.
We'll see how that goes.
What do you guys think about Pittsburgh? That game.
I think they're going to be an
Good
8-8
defense.
team. And solid defense, 8-8 team on the way, just because that's what
Can be
Tomlin
8-8,
does.
right? I mean,
8-9.
it
Oh,
can't
true,
be
true,
8-8.
8-9. Yeah. You're right.
But
So,
Tomlin's
tough
never
match.
had.
Same. it took me a little bit. Yeah.
Tomlin's never had a season less than 500 with the Steelers.
So
I'm thinking more
9-8.
9-8. Yeah, I'm thinking more 9-8.
It's literally 9-8 then.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So this is a W for the Steelers. I mean, the Jets going on the road to Pittsburgh and winning a game, that sounds like banana land to
Yeah.
me.
They've only won there once, right? And it's the regular season game in 2010 when
Yes,
they
sir.
won in
With Mark Sanchez.
the Jason Taylor safety. Yeah.
And then they made me cry because Doug O'Brien couldn't make a kick.
That's one of the 2 Pittsburgh losses that made me cry. The Doug Bryan
Yeah.
and then the 24 unanswered to start the 24 unanswered to start
Second
the game,
half.
and then can't get off the field after Sanchez gets that second touchdown.
All right, so you have us at 1-4. Alex, where are you at our first 4?
We're going 2-2.
1 and
So the
3.
Ravens
1
is
and 3.
a-
Yeah.
You're 1-3, but Alex, you have the Ravens win. What's your other win?
Browns.
Oh, starting 2-0. Jets start 2-0. Everyone might explode because right now ESPN has them drafting 31 everywhere behind the Texans, and it's driving
Oh, jeez.
me crazy, and it's driving video producer Greg crazy. Okay, so I'm gonna go 2-2 as well. I'll take the Browns and Steelers and lose to the Bengals and Ravens, who are just better teams. I think we're better than the Browns and Steelers, to be honest with you. So I'll go 2-2 there. Lose the 2 games at home, which is tough, but we don't have much of a home field. I'm sorry, we just don't. Week 5
Oh,
at
jeez.
home, media day. Jets holding their first ever media day here with the Dolphins coming into town. Listen to this, Claudia. I don't know if you know this. Do you know that Joe Douglas on the Jets has never won a division game?
That I knew. Yes,
Oh,
that I knew.
Okay, so I'm going to leave this one as a standalone. This one better be a win. Week 5, first division game. It better be a win at home, especially if we're 0-2 at home already. Claudio, can I have this win?
You can have it. I'm picking an L. I'm high on Miami this year.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's an L. All right, Alex. He has us at 1-4.
We're home against the Dolphins. Why do I feel
Chance
like
to
we
get
always
over
lose
500. No. An L for you too?
It's a chance for us to get over 500. Yeah, we're not doing that.
Yeah, we're 2-2, right? You have us at 2-2 as well. All
Yeah,
right, so we're not
yeah,
okay. So
not
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go for that W here. We're at Lambeau. I'm gonna be at that game. There is a
Yeah, we're losing that one
0% chance, 0% chance that we're gonna win. So I'm gonna take it, obviously, in my dumb Jets brain. This is what I'm talking about. I'm gonna be there. If I'm at the Jets game, if I'm traveling,
Wait, you're going to Lambeau?
yeah,
He
I'm
is.
going.
Dude, that's awesome.
I'm
I'm like super jealous right now. Wow.
I had to do it as soon as it came out. We were recording. I was on the phone because there's like a hotel in Lambeau, but you have to call as soon as the schedule drops. I was on hold for 3 hours.
Oh,
And
wow.
So we had started recording, and then while we were recording, they answered me. So I was like, go on mute and like try to do this, like trying to like book the room and like go off mute. Like it was quite the debacle. But yeah,
That's a bucket list for me to go to Lambeau. That's awesome, man. Congrats.
I need to win the game. So I know we're not going to, but I need to. So I'm going to count that as a win. And obviously, we're going to lose in Denver, right? We're definitely going to lose in Denver. So that's my rationale here. That's a 3-game winning streak for me. Steelers, Dolphins, Packers, which would be unbelievable. We're losing, obviously, Alex, right? In Green Bay.
Oh, 100%. I'm not even.
Okay.
I'm not even. I'm not
and
that
Broncos,
delusional.
right? And Broncos, right? We're losing that.
Sadly, we're always.
Damn, do I have them at 1-6 when they play?
That's what I'm saying. Right now, week 7, Claudio.
They have a great spread, though, Claudio. Don't worry.
They just got to cover.
Games. Alex, you only have 2 wins up to here, right?
Yeah, only 2 wins.
Up till going into week 8.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, so I have 4 wins. I have 4 wins.
Oh, thank God. They graced me this year where my birthday weekend is not against the Patriots. Thank God.
But week 8, we are home
against
versus the Patriots. I'll be at that game as well, Claudio. I guess I like torture.
I have a question for you guys.
Yes. Your answer is yes. I already know what you're going to say. The answer is yes. They suck.
The Patriots are not good this year. Everything I read about them. So I did my fantasy draft the other night with like my friends from. No Patriot got drafted.
That's a great sign.
Not even Shamondre Stevenson?
Not a single Patriot got drafted.
Yo, dude, go pick up Shamondre Stevenson.
Okay, deal, fine.
Yeah,
but like you see what I'm saying? We're used to like Gronk, Brady, like James White, especially in PPR leagues, and Welker, and all these other Patriots being part. Like not even Mac Jones as a look in a 2 QB league got taken.
That's weird.
Andrew, let me give you a gauge on how I know the Patriots are not good this year.
Mm-hmm.
In my law school league, because the law school I attended is out here in Boston, most of the people that attended are from Boston. I'd say out of the 12 people in that league, 9 are from Boston.
Mm-hmm.
If I told you I saw more Jets drafted within the first 8 rounds than Patriots players, not even Tom Brady was drafted until like the 11th. That should give you an idea of how the Patriots are feeling for the season.
Okay,
John, I'll make you excited about you. That you're going to beat the Patriots. That'll be Joe Douglas's first win against a division opponent. That's my second win. That ends the losing streak.
They better win that game, Claudio. And honestly, there's a myth going. Well, maybe not a myth, but it just goes so under the radar because it's blasphemy to say anything bad against Bill Belichick. And I get it. I respect the man to a certain point. I hate his guts. He hates me. It's mutual, right?
Same.
Tom Brady. I hate Tom Brady. Tom Brady hates me. He hates the color green. He hates the Jets. Like we're on the same page here. But dude, the guy can't draft. Like for example, last year, the first and second round pick, both. I mean, Cole Strange, who knows, he might still be good, but he's hurt. Thornton, I think he's on IR. He might be out for the year. I know he's hurt. After that, it gets pretty dicey. Marcus Jones, who knows what in his depth chart he is in the cornerback room, along with Jack Jones, Pierre Strong Jr., their 4th round pick. literally last in their depth chart behind Ty Montgomery. Remember Ty Montgomery?
I remember.
Literally behind him. So there's like this, there's this thing where they just haven't drafted well. They spent a lot of money on tight ends. But listen, dude, they're gonna win games. Like James White retired, but they got Shamondre Stevenson. He's gonna be good. He's gonna catch stuff out of the backfield. Damian Harris will run it. Hunter Henry, he's gonna get touchdowns. Jonnu Smith, he'll have a bounce back year. They got Devontae Parker from Miami.
Devontae Parker's a Patriot.
Yeah, and
Stop
Jacoby
Okay.
Myers. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna get these sneaky wins because it's New England. But I would love this win, man. Alex, can I get this win?
Yes, we are getting this win.
Oh,
Unanimous. There you go.
this is for
We're getting
me
this win.
because I'm gonna be at this game. So obviously, I physically cannot pick a Jets loss when I'm at the game. That's why I definitely don't bet them. So okay, that's how many wins for you right now, Claudio? 2?
I'm at 2. I'm switching the Pittsburgh game.
All right. So we got
They'll win
3
that
wins.
game. So I'll get there 3 and 5 because I don't
Thank
see
God.
there's too much offensive young talent on this roster for
Yep.
me to be like they'll be 1 and 6 going into the Patriots game.
That'll
You
be
know?
so tough because they're wrestling Buffalo after. That's obviously an L.
Yeah. So like 3 and 7 going into the bye or 3 and 6 going into the bye makes sense to me.
Okay.
I can't get there with like 4 and 5 or even 5 and 4, but 3 and 6 does make sense to me. So I'll go 3 and
Okay.
6.
All right. 3 and 6 going to the bye. And then at New England, that's an L.
No, the Patriots stink.
We're gonna beat them
Wow.
2 times.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Twice?
sweep New England.
Holy shit!
I was so floored
I'm
by
down.
their lack of talent the other day. I
I'm
just
so
was
down.
like, this is the Matt Patricia's calling plays
Well,
on
we don't know.
offense for
It's
them.
a secret. It's a secret. It could be Joe Brady or it could be Matt Patricia. It's a big
Oh,
secret.
I didn't know Joe Brady's on that.
Yeah.
Team. If Joe Brady's there, that changes.
Yeah.
Um,
They're both like pretending to call plays. We don't know who's doing it.
all right. I think this is a hint of when Popovich was with the Spurs and we were like, I'm not picking against the Spurs until they actually lose. And then they like were 10 games under 500 once. It's like, okay, I can start betting against the Spurs. Great.
Yeah,
I think that's where we are with
This
Belichick
is
right
it?
now. We're so like he's the boogeyman. They're gonna be 10 and 7, and then it's gonna take one season where they go 4 and 13 for us to be like, all right, woof. What we're actually seeing makes sense, especially with the roster that they've constructed.
And then Matt Patricia becomes the next head coach, and then we can all celebrate.
Yeah, what do you guys
that'd
think
be
about
great.
the fact that like McDaniel's not there anymore? Do you think he mattered as far as like what they meant on offense?
Yes.
Yeah, so
100%.
like they're switching up Mac Jones as coach, offensive coordinator in between year 1 and year 2. That's not great for development. You're not even supplanting him with like someone else on the staff. So the scheme stays the same. It's go get the failed Lions coach, you know?
I mean, I'm happy to watch the Patriots just burn down and crumble. That's what, but it's odd, especially since I live out here, that the fans kind of know what's going on, but the media doesn't really know what's going on. The media is like, oh yeah, it's still the same old Patriots, Mac Jones, the next coming of Tom Brady. I'm like, are we all seeing the
have to.
same thing?
You have to because you don't want Billy B to read something wrong that you wrote up. That's bad news. But you think you could beat them in New England, in your hometown, Alex?
Stop this. All right. It's not my hometown.
Your hometown.
Ain't my hometown. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. But do I
Are
think they
we
could beat
going-
him in New England?
Yeah.
I'm going to take this as an L just because I feel
Okay.
like home. I gotta be like a little too advantageous. Let's start slow.
Yo,
Let's get a win.
it's hard for-
Let's get a win at home, and
It's
then
hard for the Jets to get to 500 with Alex and Claudio here. So let's try to let's try to
never,
see if we
that's
can
never
find
my
any
goal.
wins.
But that much.
Let's see if we can find any wins left here. So we got Chicago here on
Yes.
Thanksgiving week. That has to be a win at home. It has to.
yes,
I'm
Chicago's
just
in the
realizing,
same boat.
hold on. So this actually works out perfect because this is how Jet seasons have gone in the past.
Exactly.
They'll win this game. They'll win this
Mm-hmm.
game, and they're 5 and 6, and the playoff machine becomes available. And it's like, holy crap, the Jets like are actually in a playoff. They're in the hunt on the graphic, and then it's
Claudio, that's all I asked
Minnesota.
for.
It's Minnesota, Buffalo. Although,
Listen,
and it's
if you
Detroit,
can give
Jacksonville,
me-
Seattle. Jeez.
if you could give me a Jets in the hunt graphic around Thanksgiving,
On
oh
Thanksgiving.
my God, I would be the happiest person on planet Earth. I'm not joking. I would literally hang up the damn banner. Like people are gonna make fun of me. Say, yes, hang up the damn banner if the Jets are in the hunt around Thanksgiving. I have us at 5 wins going into the bye week. I think Chicago could be our 6th win. Right?
Yeah, and they're my 5th. Let's do it. Okay, yeah. Chicago's their 5th win. I dig it.
All right. Minnesota and Buffalo L's.
Lost 2
What
L's.
you got, Alex?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we're gonna be Chicago. We're gonna lose to Minnesota. We're gonna lose to Buffalo.
And then we need 3 out of 4 wins at the end here with Detroit, Jacksonville, Seattle, Miami.
What do you guys think of Detroit this year?
I think they're trash.
You think they're trash? Okay.
Yes, I know. Everyone loves them because Sewell did better. Hard Knocks is cool. They have a lot of good fantasy guys. Like St. Brown, he did really good. Hawkinson did really well. I think they suck. DeAndre Swift, everyone's really hyped about them. I can't tell you how many years now somebody's hyped about the Detroit Lions running back before the season starts, especially when it comes to fantasy. And by week 4, you feel like an absolute moron. Whether it's like Amir Abdullah or honestly, go down the list of Lions running backs that you drafted in fantasy and how dumb you felt. Like literally by week 4, like, I have no idea why I did this. That's how it is with Detroit, especially when we're talking around in December. Like this is week 15. Detroit, like, what are they going to be playing for? What is Jacksonville?
Yeah, can they actually have a running back that lasts the entire season too, that doesn't get injured? That'd be a miracle for them.
What on earth is Jacksonville going to be playing for on a Thursday night, 3 days before Christmas? That's a really big, that could be a really nice win for the Jets at home. What do you think,
Yeah,
Claudio?
it's tough.
You think we could win 3 in a row?
So I'm staring at the schedule right now.
At Seattle, Geno Smith.
I showed up.
Adams.
I showed up to this pod all pessimistic, like, all right, ready to help them figure out how the Jets go 6-11. And I'm like, are the Jets going 8-9 this year? And
oh my god, what are the odds on that? I literally took that.
I mean, the over.
There's a bet for that. No, there's a bet.
Oh, you mean like actual
Jets.
8 that gets to 8 wins?
8-1. Yeah, 8-1 or better.
So here's what I'll say: for the purposes of this podcast, yeah, they'll it's a 3-game winning streak. They'll be 8-8 going into that final week, and then in typical Jet fashion, they'll lose in Miami, and it'll cost them a playoff spot. But it'll be that kind of loss that's like, you know what? They're a year away. This is something you build off.
The Geno Smith rookie season. Oh, yes, here we go.
Literally that. And if I'm being completely honest with myself, they're not beating Belichick twice this year.
Yeah.
So swapping that second New England win to a loss makes even more sense. So that way they go 7-10, which is a step forward. They're much more competitive. You're not. I don't have a bad loss on my projections this year. Like losing in Pittsburgh, like winning a game in Pittsburgh, something you never do. Beating the Patriots at home is something that they should do.
Winning in Green Bay.
I don't know. For John specifically, winning in Green Bay. If they can get to 7-10 and these games are competitive, and like you said, they're in the hunt, I'll take it. So 7-10 is what I'll land on. Okay. I actually just don't want to wish that on myself that they're 8-8 going into that Miami game, and then
you know what?
Oh no,
44-15 later. Yeah.
For year two, that's too high expectation.
No. 7-10, and it was 4-9 that led to 3 straight wins. Or yes, 3 straight wins, and then a loss to make it 7-10.
I'm going 7-10 too. That's what I got as well.
I literally hate myself because as the more I see out the schedule, I see 8 wins going into Miami.
You see 8 wins going to Miami.
I hate it.
No.
Especially because if you beat Cleveland and Pittsburgh, 2 games that you should win in the 4, you beat Miami at home, finally win the home division game. You win the Green Bay, lose Denver, beat New England because you split. You double lose to Buffalo, lose to Minnesota. You beat Chicago, and then you beat Detroit, Jacksonville at Seattle, which would be crazy. Jets winning on the West Coast in Seattle, on January 1st. That's a large task.
Are y'all not high on Miami this year? What are your thoughts on the Dolphins and the McDaniel and getting Tyreek Hill and
Go ahead, Alex.
what that might look like?
What do you think of Tua? Tell him.
I'm not a big fan of Tua, but I do think that I do think that with the talent that they put around him, they'll be a middling enough team where they're not going to be abysmal, but they're going to just be like right around there, competing somewhere with the Jets. That's just kind of my feeling on them this season.
So in John's scenario where the Jets are 8-8 going into Miami, let's say Miami's 9-7. What do you see the Jets pulling off a win and get? Okay,
no,
that was the quickest no I've ever heard in my life.
Claudio, look, we are Jets fans.
I'm aware. I don't think they're going into that game 7
for year 2. All right, it was an anomaly to have Mark Sanchez come to 2 AFC championships as a rookie and still have some of the best playoff stats that we've ever seen. Okay, you're asking
arguably
Zach
a top
Wilson,
5 quarterback in Jets history, Mark Sanchez. Yes.
Honestly,
it's a real thing. Arguably a top 5 quarterback.
At the end of the day, he honestly had a part of my growing up in my childhood, which is crazy.
For sure.
Without the Sanchez era, I might have moved on.
The happiest I've been as a Jets fan was when Mark Sanchez was quarterback.
100%.
That's a real fact.
100%.
Yes, for
100%.
sure.
But guys,
so
I know
because we were that close and we haven't seen anything that, I think it's also tough, man, for putting that on Zach Wilson year 2. I don't know. I can't do that yet. Can't do that.
Can I just say one thing about this Dolphins schedule? You're asking about the Dolphins. They have a lot harder schedule, even though they're in the same division as the Jets. They are at Cincinnati, at Baltimore, which is tough. They're at the Chargers, which we don't have, which is tough. They still have Green Bay coming into town, and they're at San Francisco. Those are really tough games. I don't see 9 wins in their schedule, to be honest with you. So, like, if they could beat Pittsburgh at home, if they somehow could beat Chicago and Detroit on the road, which is tough, Cleveland, Deshaun Watson list as well. Like that's 4 wins right there. You maybe get some division games. That's bump it up to 6. Like, you beat the Jets once, which, negates, from the other side, and you split maybe the Buffalo or New England. I honestly, I don't see 9 wins in the Miami's future. And Greg likes to always say, we've been saying it for a couple of years now, rookie head coaches just doesn't work. And then we have Tua, who's a work in progress, just to be nice about it. Chase Edmonds had a really good year last year. I don't know. They're decimated, man. They got injuries on the O-line. They got injuries in the secondary to start off the year. And they're starting off with New England, Baltimore, Buffalo, Cincinnati. Like, where's the win? So I don't know. I feel really confident about this 8-8 Jets because Claudio, you talk about game. It seems to be a theme today, just the games I'm going to. I was at that Jets Buffalo game, that Fitzpatrick game. That Rex Ryan Super Bowl game.
We've talked about this now that I remember. We talked about this.
And so I physically cannot lose to not make the playoffs against the Dolphins in Miami. Like, this is just.
Wait, are you going?
No, but if it's
okay.
The playoffs,
I thought you were repeating that. Okay,
I might have to. I might have to
go.
No.
I don't know. Like, I can't.
How do you not?
Done to me.
We're not letting you back on a plane if you lose that game. Okay.
I don't know if you know this, Claudio.
I'm worried about that bad juju.
I don't know if you know this, but John was actually in London last year when the Jets played the Falcons.
Knew, when they played the Falcons and lost. Yeah, that was right after the win against Tennessee. Yeah. Here's what I'll say about Miami.
Kyle Pitts became an NFL player that day.
As a fantasy owner, I appreciated it.
Jets versus tight ends is abysmal, dude.
I think you'll know about Miami literally week 1 because I actually do see their win, and it's New England. And if they make an example out of New England, then okay, this is what the Dolphins offense might be. What?
Bill Belichick is going to lose to Tua and a first-year head coach in week 1.
Rex Ryan beat him his first year. In week 2,
Adam Gase has beaten him. What are we doing?
Yeah, that's why the thing about the rookie, Eric Mangini beat him his rookie year.
Adam Gase beat Bill Belichick in his rookie year.
Yeah, with the Dolphins. They were 10-6.
Oh, Dolphins.
Dolphins.
I was about to say the Jets.
You said rookie head coaches, which is why I'm trying to make that equivalent here.
Has he?
Okay. Also, you're doing the Popovich thing again. Belichick doesn't have a roster that could be a lot of teams right now, let alone a team with a rookie head coach.
Okay, that's fair.
That's my thought.
It's just scary for me. I mean,
It is. I agree. I'm just also saying, like, eventually we have to look at what our eyes are telling us. Like, as a Mets fan, I was not picking against the Atlanta Braves until they lost an NL East growing up because they won the division every year inexplicably, regardless of what their roster actually said. Then in 2006, the talent deficiency between the Mets and the Braves was so stark that the only reason people were picking the Braves was out of respect. And then they lost the division by 22 games. And it was like, all right, we can start picking against the Braves again. Great. So out of respect, I'll say the Patriots like competitive against Miami. And I'm not going to predict they finish in last place this year. But I think I also am.
You know, it's funny. Last year, they opened the season. They lost against the Dolphins.
What's up?
Last year, Patriots opened against the Dolphins and lost.
There you go.
But I just want to say this, like, so Adam Gase didn't beat Bill Belichick his rookie season, but he did beat him the second season
when
he was down there.
Oh,
So,
is that the Hail Mary, the that game?
the crazy
Lateral.
Yeah.
Yep.
The lateral game. Okay.
So, I just think it's a little tough to beat them. Okay, so you guys have the Jets missing the playoffs. We have them in the hunt here. We have the Knicks fixing everybody's feelings by getting rid of Fournier and Randle. And everyone's going to be kumbaya by week 1 for the Knicks too. Did I get that right?
Can I ask you a question? What happens first? The Jets get their 5th win or Tom Thibodeau gets fired?
Why does this come up with John Haskins?
That's my big prediction for the Knicks season this year. I'll tell you that much.
What was the question last week, Alex, that I gave you?
You what was going to happen first? Donovan Mitchell gets traded or Jets win?
I said what happens first? Donovan Mitchell gets traded, Knicks above 500, or the Jets above 500. I forgot what the answer was, but it wasn't Donovan Mitchell.
Yankees make the playoffs. It was all 3 of our teams.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Because that was a month away. I was like, all right, by October, I think the Jets will be 500. Oh man, what do you think, Alex?
Let's see. Is Tom Thibodeau going to be fired first, or are the Jets going to be above 500? Was that the question?
Well, it's 5. I said 5 wins. Do the Jets get
5
to
wins?
Win by the time and is Tibbs like so? Say I have their 5th win week. Oh, I have Miami's schedule open. I have the Jets' 5th win
By the bye week.
Oh, by the bye week is November. They're not going to fire him in November. That's why I'm saying their 5th win could be that Detroit game on December 18th.
December?
Yeah.
Oh my God! If they have 4 wins by December 18th, this is going to be a rough year for me.
So then let's just make that the cutoff. When the Jets are playing on Detroit. In fact, they're not going to fire him before Christmas, I don't think. All right, so let's just do this.
Yeah.
When they get to Seattle, okay, for week 17.
January 1st. Officially.
What happens first? Does that game get played? This is a long way of saying, does Tibbs make it to January 1st?
Tibbs makes it the whole year. Tibbs makes it the whole year.
Think he makes it the whole year?
Tibbs makes it the whole year.
If they scrap if they trade Randall and Fournier, he's staying the entire. There's no way you can have any expectations. If they're both here, that team better start winning. So I'm going to say, if Tom Thibodeau is still here, which is first? Jets. I'm gonna have to say Tibbs probably gets fired over if you got the Randall Fournier experiment here. Tibbs getting fired first, then Jets making it that far.
Yeah,
you guys disgust me.
Why?
Because the Jets are gonna get 5 wins by
week 5.
By week 8.
Week 8.
Yeah,
they're gonna be 5-3 headed into Buffalo.
Yeah, because we got the Patriots.
Or are you saying they'll be 5-2 headed into New England or heading into playing New England?
No, they're gonna win. They're gonna beat the Patriots, like we said.
Okay.
I'm just assuming we're gonna beat Green Bay because I'm praying about it.
Because you're there. Okay.
Yeah, I know that's ridiculous. Trust me, I was at the joint practice between Green Bay and the Jets last year. No one has seen them get torn apart like me. I know I was at the game. It was tough, but I'm just giving it to me. I'm giving us the home win versus the Dolphins as our first home win of the season, week 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then at Pittsburgh, we could beat Mitch Trubisky and we could beat Jacoby Brissett. That's 5 wins.
I love it. So 5-4 headed into the bye.
5-4 headed into the bye,
And then they beat New
God
England,
bless.
so that's
No, we
6-4.
lose.
And
We
then they
lose.
beat Chicago
We
at
lose.
7-4.
We lose in
Shocked the
Foxborough.
world in Minnesota,
Another L.
8-4.
Another L.
Then a letdown
Another
game
L.
against Buffalo. It's 8-5.
Another L.
And then
Another L.
4 straight wins to end the season. 12-5.
4 straight to end the season.
And a
I'm
bye
with you
week.
on that.
We'll be the 1 seed. Let's do it.
I got 9 wins, bro. 9 wins. 9 wins here. The
9 and
4
8,
games
I
at the
dig
end
it.
here are going to be tough. The 4 games are going to
man.
be tough.
What's going to be tough is if they are 8-8 and on a 3-game winning streak heading into Miami, that letdown.
Oh.
It's like,
And if we
You're
beat
right
Miami
there.
already,
yeah.
it's over. I know. Trust me, I know.
Yeah.
8 and 9 to be in the hunt to end the season. I love it. I'll hang up the banner.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm with Alex, by the way. If they're only firing Tibbs if there's a roster that's trying, like of veterans that's
Trying to
trying to
win.
compete. Yeah. If they trade Randall, trade Fournier, and honestly, and trade Derrick Rose, I think Tibbs resigns because he will not coach a team the rest of his life that doesn't have Derrick Rose on it. But if he's still here, he's been reassured this year the record doesn't matter this year, which I don't think he's going to sign on for. But let's see, maybe he can. I do still think he's a good coach, and maybe he can work some magic and develop some of these kids into some role players that actually win a couple games. And then you have even a better problem on your hands. Your team that was meant to tank is too good.
Yeah, that's the dream.
That's a dream.
That's
It's literally Memphis.
that's literally the dream.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Some
Yo,
might
Claudio, I
say
think-
it's what is gonna happen.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I love it.
We'll see.
Claudio optimistic about the Jets this season. Claudio optimistic about the young Knicks. I love it. This is why we bring Claudio on. All right.
yeah.
Just to add on to the optimism.
Would love if that
Andrew-
optimism translated into baseball.
Now we're getting crazy.
Don't-
Not great right now, guys.
Both of our baseball
Look, man.
teams are trash right now.
Look, man. Only 2 of the 3 teams at max can ever be good at once. This isn't going to be like the 70s or anything like that anymore. All right. It's all over.
Judge is the MVP, right?
Should be.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
Has to be.
I'm talking to Yankee fans, so what?
Nobody has to be. I understand Otani. If
I
the
mean,
Angels,
this is
if
not
the
even
Angels
being-
were good, I would give it to them. Just give it
Mhm.
to them. But like the Angels are so bad, dude. We can't ever watch them.
I agree. I think the issue I have is Otani is literally doing something we've never done. We've never seen
Mhm.
done. And 2 weeks ago, I was like, it's not even close. Otani's like a solid power hitter. He's not having the year he had last year, and he's like a 2 or 3 starter, which that's impressive. But like Judge might break some records this year. And since that 2 weeks has started, Otani's like his OPS is over 900. He's having like Cy Young caliber season on the mound, which it's closer than I thought. If Judge gets to 65 home runs, that's the most valuable player in the league.
So you think if he doesn't get 65, he shouldn't get MVP?
My point is he has to break like the
No, I personally
reason.
doesn't matter to me,
Yeah.
especially because it's a contract year. And because the Yankees, the state of the Yankees, I never cared less about MVP for my team, especially baseball, in my life. Because first of all, it hurts us as an organization if he gets MVP because he's going to want to get more money, right? So it just sucks for us. Less likely we keep him. And 2, it's just going to be an asterisk on the season. Oh yeah, Aaron Judge got MVP. Oh, is that the year that we didn't?
Yeah.
You know how we are, baseball fans. Like it's just gonna compute with ourselves, like, oh yeah, Aaron Judge won MVP, and then we lost in the wild card to whatever. You know what I mean?
And then he walked, which is the even scarier thing.
exactly
you know?
like that was the end of the era. So I don't know.
I think it would have to be an unprecedented season that matches Otani's unprecedented season, is my point. So
You
Judge
think-
gets to
you don't care about the wins and losses.
Oh, not at all. Baseball is way too individual of a sport. And
Interesting.
like if you're a good player on a last place team, that's not your
So-
fault that like if
Do you
you're
think
pitching.
Trout deserved it all these years? You're a big Trout guy.
I'm back and forth. It rubs me the wrong way
Yeah.
that like that
Can't
like
win a
if you're
game.
well, just like, but I also like, is it his fault that his team can't win?
It's not
That he's
his
putting
fault. I
Up
mean, you
these
need- you
numbers, you know.
Yeah. I mean, you need other guys to come help and come through.
It's like way more of an indictment on the Angels than Trout that they have these 2 generational baseball players on their team and just like can't finish over 500. You want to talk about an in the hunt graphic? When's the last time we saw the
I know.
Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim of California? in the hunt.
I know.
So that's more why I go to that. I do think specifically, and this is my New York bias here, it's different when you're doing it for the Yankees. There's more pressure on on any Yankee player than any other market in sports. Potentially, it's like the Cowboys, the Yankees, the Lakers.
Well,
There's
trying to
more-
do that on purpose, right? He chose to go to a smaller market. Wasn't that his whole deal?
No, well, he didn't go to. He went to Los Angeles. You know, I get it. It's Orange County, but he still went to
Yeah.
Los Angeles. He wanted to go to a place at the time where it was closer to the West Coast because it's closer to
Mhm.
home, and it's like he like the whole National League was out at the time because he wanted a DH.
Mhm.
I think. Look, if Judge breaks Maris's record, then like that's an unprecedented season. We've only ever seen people that like were cheating do that. So
Mhm.
like you give it to Judge in that case. I if they were to then turn and give it to Ohtani, I'd be like, that sucks. So we're just gonna reward it. Like he's the MVP for the rest of his life then.
That's another
You
thing.
know? Which, you know, maybe he should be. He's actually
Maybe
really
he is the
pretty
MVP for
freaking
the rest of his
valuable.
life. Okay, that's fair.
That's
I
the
have
other
no-
part, you know.
I've never been like, I remember like breaking walls and ripping shirts talking about David Ortiz versus A-Rod
Mhm.
and how that meant so much. And I don't know if it's because the Yankees just haven't won in so long or because of how the last 2 months have gone, but I just do not care about Aaron Judge's MVP. I just really, truly don't.
Well, realize what you just said. A-Rod against Big Papi, Yankees, Red Sox. And you also,
Yeah.
that's 05. That is a time when baseball mattered more
Yeah.
than anything else.
Oh,
That
man.
3-year stretch of Yankees, Red Sox, as a
Yeah.
Mets fan watching it from the outside, it's the most I've ever enjoyed baseball. That like, you want to talk about like the
glory
rating,
years.
the glory days of baseball.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The ratings for playoff games were like better than Michael Jordan's finals games, and like, baseball mattered for a good 3 years. And
But-
you know it's
why?
downhill
Like,
since.
you're a big baseball fan. I was looking at statistics the other day, and I was looking to see how many guys are just hitting over 300.
Yeah, batting
know?
average doesn't matter anymore.
It
Which
doesn't.
is
It
tough,
doesn't.
'cause-
It's all
Yeah.
about the
which
war,
is
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on base percentage they look at. It's
Okay.
like the whole concept of Milwaukee's as good as a hit doesn't factor into batting average. So like if you're like, so Bryce Harper in 2017 hit 249, which like to our heads, it's like, okay, you're a 250 hitter. That's not good. But he walked 120 times and had an on base percentage over 400. So the recalculation to look at OPS, on base percentage, a 300 batting average is great. Mark Canha is hitting 280 this year. He's a singles hitter and hits for no power, which leads to more run production, which is why I've had to kind of retrain my brain. But look, I don't like it that I look at the Dodgers and they got 90 some odd wins, but they've got 6 guys in their lineup hitting under 220, you know?
Yeah.
So,
But
It also-
that's the thing.
go
It's
ahead.
like that's the action. That's the action, though. It's like getting up there, watching somebody go hit, seeing how they, watching everybody on the field shift. Like, how do you maneuver somebody who's like a righty, a lefty? How do you shift for someone who's playing power? The whole like strategy of the game. That kind of goes out of the way where it's like, oh, well, we could just get a walk and no one wants to go hit for average anymore. I mean,
Mhm.
I was looking when they had, I think it was like 2012 that the statistics I was looking up. There was 45 to 50 guys hitting 300, like averaging 300 or better.
Mhm.
Now I look back and it's like
8.
15.
Yeah.
Yeah, like max. Like what's
Yeah.
going on here? So, like there needs to be some sort of action, like just going to the stadium, like, oh great, they got on base, and very smart. They didn't swing at all these guys
Mhm.
pitches that he has in his arsenal. They didn't take the slider. They didn't take the cutter. I mean, that's great play, but it's still like I want to see some like hitting, getting on base, moving it that way, just keeping the offensive alive instead of just swinging and going for yard all the time.
Well, that's the other part is this overindulgence of trying to swing for the fences. So you get a guy like Stanton, who is a 219 hitter, but
Is he hurt
because he's
again?
swinging for the fences, if he connects once, it's like, all right, you produced a run with a swing, but you got to indulge the 7 strikeouts in between that.
And one of
And
them
it's-
and one of them hurts his foot. He got
Yeah,
literally hurt
yeah.
yesterday because he swung too hard.
So Fred Katz and I, we're like really big baseball fans, and we talk
Yep.
about how we have like a really solid baseball text conversation where it's literally
Oh,
just
nice.
well, it's literally just us talking about why baseball isn't as popular as it used to be. And the idea that what probably mathematically is best, like the best strategy, which is what is the best way to create a run in my single at bat, and it's to swing for the fences, is also the least appealing version of baseball. Like these guys aren't better hitters because they're swinging for the fences. They just know the math says like an uppercut that swings over the fence. Yet we grew up in the Keith Hernandez era, the Tony Gwynns, the 330 hitters, the Todd Heltons, the Larry Walkers of the world that pride themselves on, I'm striking out less than 100 times this year. I'm hitting them where it ain't. I'm taking advantage of a shift. I'm a cerebral hitter as a result. And it was somewhere around the 2010s, baseball decided the best way to produce runs is to swing for the fences. And if they want to shift on you, me fine. I'm still going to swing for the fences. And as a result, power matters much more than, your batting average.
For sure.
Which,
I think that was like,
makes it a less entertaining
transition.
project.
That was probably the most gross transition of baseball, because I remember going to so many Yankee games I have to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not a big A-Rod guy, not at all.
Okay.
So and I know like Yankees camp is like, yeah, they love this guy or you hate this guy, and I'm in the I hate A-Rod camp because I'm like, didn't really do much, bro. You didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And even our captain was like, whatever. Like,
did you watch The Captain, the documentary?
I'm in the process of doing that right now.
DM me when you get through it, because it's episode 5.
Finish it?
I've seen it twice. Episode 5 is my favorite episode of the series. It's one of my favorite episodes of ESPN documentaries ever.
Okay.
Partially because
A-Rod?
it's all it's partially that they start with 04. And the collapse against the Red Sox. Again, this is Mets fan porn we're talking about here.
Sure.
Then they talk about the gift baskets and Derek Jeter's nightlife.
Mhm.
Then they kind of get a white reporter to say something he shouldn't have midway through the episode, and then you get the Yankee family to react to it. And it's a reporter that when I was interning way back in the day used to be like, "Kid, stop calling me." And it's like, well, guess what? Now you're canceled, buddy.
Interesting.
Wow.
All
right,
episode 5 of The Captain is highly recommended.
Let's go. All right.
Thank you for
On my
indulging my
docket.
baseball talk at the end of this, guys.
Oh, thank you, Andrew, for coming on the show and talking Knicks, Jets, baseball with us,
Etc.
That's the etc., man. That's why we got it there. So, Andrew, before we let you go, man, please let our listeners know where they can find you. If you got anything to promote, come on, man.
You can find me on Twitter at @AndrewJClaudio_. You can find all things Knicks Film School in the link tree that's on our Twitter account, but just honestly searching at Knicks Film School, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, SoundCloud, Spotify, all the above. On YouTube, we just hit over 10,000 subscribers over the summer, so we're nowhere near.
Congrats on that, man.
Thank you. As an employee of Knicks Fan TV, I understand we still got some catching up to do, but it's a milestone nonetheless. And our Patreon, you got John's newsletter. We do some really thorough coverage of the New York Knicks, of course. And then I have a movie podcast. We're on a hiatus right now because we finished season 1. But it's called Final Review. We take the greatest movies of all time and try to actually calculate the value of their greatness. We did 25 episodes in season 1, everything from Remember the Titans to The Godfather to Titanic to Spider-Man. You name it, we covered a bunch in season 1. So check it out. Final Review available everywhere where podcasts are available.
So because
you're not going to promote, where's the Mets stuff? Claudio,
oh yeah, I'm so mad at the Mets right now. I don't want to talk about it. I also do live watch parties of Mets games on playback with my buddy Rich McLeod of Just Mets. We're doing. When is this airing?
Tomorrow.
So tonight, Wednesday night against the Pirates, Jacob deGrom takes the mound, and Rich and I will be watching live as the Mets hopefully decide to treat a last place team like a last place team and not, play down to their level. So you could join me. You can either join me as we watch the Mets turn their season around, or if you like watching me in agony, tune in as we see the Mets squander what used to be a 10.5 game lead in the National League East.
Sounds like a bitter fan that I can just relate to when it comes to the
Very,
Jets too.
very much so. Yeah.
Speaking of the reviews,
Mhm.
are we watching the new Game of Thrones? House
Oh
of Dragons?
yes, House of Dragons. Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
I haven't started it yet. I kind of like to wait because, like, to be honest with you, I hate the waiting a week nonsense.
Okay.
I just like to wait until I just have a bunch, so I could just like kind of like
The waiting a week nonsense. You mean
Yeah,
the
I
way
can't
we
do
watch
it.
television
No,
for
we
like
don't do that
100
anymore.
years?
No, we don't do that anymore. I can't be sitting there reading theories, thinking about it for a week. I
the
don't
lore
have
is the
that
best
patience
part.
anymore.
The lore, exactly. Yeah.
No. I need a rapid. I'll wait for the last episode, maybe the last two.
Okay.
Like that's when I'll catch up. I'm not gonna wait till it's all over.
It's
So,
outstanding.
it's good
is what I'll
though.
say.
Okay,
It's
that's good. I was also
outstanding.
nervous.
Yes.
I was nervous about that.
Well, yeah.
So,
See, from
yeah.
what the way Game of Thrones ended, it's natural to be
Yeah,
nervous.
really,
I'm telling
yeah.
you, they have like picked the ball up from season 4, and they have just
Okay, that's good.
It's now running the way
I'm
that
not a big prequel guy.
see. That's the thing. Even nobody in this world matters to Game of Thrones. We're talking about hundreds of years before Daenerys Targaryen. So the world we're watching actually has some, like, they're all gonna die, but the how of it all is actually pretty fascinating. The political intrigue that was in season 1 is back. The special effects and the gore with the dragons that you got in season 5 and 6 is back. The battle scene that we got at the end of episode 3 that just aired is on par with Blackwater and Battle of the Bastards and Hardhome.
You can see.
Yes, you can see. You can see. It's a daytime battle. It's a daytime battle. Even better.
That's good.
That's
good. Did you hear about the sequel coming out with Jon Snow?
Yeah, I heard. I'm
see that.
So you're not a prequel. I'm not a sequel to anything of Game
Really.
of Thrones,
So that
guys.
intrigues me a lot more than the prequel stuff. But okay, I'm down. I'll get into that.
It's
down.
awesome. I co-sign and recommend. That'll be my final
That's
recommendation. Yeah,
that's all I need.
House of
There we
Dragons.
go.
House of the Dragon. Excuse me.
That's all I need.
See, and that's what I love. That's why we love having Claudio on, man. This is where we get the true etc. The true etc. at the end of every podcast. All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in for another Knicks and Jets episode, the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast. Please make sure to follow Andrew Claudio. Check out Knicks Film School. Check out Final Review. Check out everything Andrew does because it's just top-notch work. And even over just all the organizations he's with, they do top-notch work. Okay. So make sure to go subscribe, follow them wherever wherever you could go find whatever their content is. Make sure to go support. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in for another episode. Once again, please make sure to subscribe. It's free to do. Okay. Whatever audio listening platform you listen to us on, make sure to subscribe. Go check over the YouTube page, subscribe over there. Follow us on all social media. Check out Winning Picks Weekly. You all know the drill. We'll catch you later this week to preview the Jets versus the Ravens. We out.
Can't believe we're back. Let's go Jets and let's go Knicks. Trade Fournier and Randall so we can help these guys out.